So this is mine and Giselle's project on the trading relationship between China and the US.
So the reason why we chose these countries is because these two have the highest GDP in the world, and also China is the US's biggest trading partner. The distance between China and the US is approximately 7,200 miles. So in China, the total GDP in 2018 was 13.608 trillion. Total GDP per capita was 9,770. In the United States, total GDP was $20.554 trillion, and the total GDP per capita was 62,794.
So the exportations by both countries from the US to China, the top three categories are aircraft, machinery, and electrical machinery. There's also other stuff. And then from China to the US, the top three are electrical machinery, and furniture and bedding.
So the government subsidies in the United States for exports are programs. One of these is the Export Credit Guarantee Program, which finances U.S. farm exports, and the United States Commercial Service, which is a program whose mission is to promote the export of goods and services from the U.S. In China, the government provides incentives called pure exporter incentives, which take the form of tax rebates that are conditional on a firm exporting all or most of its production.
So the trade balance between the two, China's trade balance was $419.2 billion in 2018, and US's was $41 billion with China in 2018.
So overall, the US is more dependent on China because China provides lower cost goods, which allows people to buy more stuff. The US has a budget deficit with China, and China provides funding for this deficit and is also the largest foreign holder of US Treasury securities. China is also the third largest supporter of US exports. China is more independent because by drawing increased support from domestic demand, China is better able to withstand the pressure of tariffs and other actions that are aimed at its exporters.
So it's mutually hurtful to both countries because the US's tariffs have caused a 25% export loss, and this caused a $35 billion loss for China. And because of this and the new Chinese tariffs, it's also safe to say that Chinese consumers will have higher prices to pay, and it will also negatively affect US exporters.
So some of the trade barriers in the US include tariffs, which are protective tariffs on imported poultry, textiles, sugar, and some types of steel and clothing and aluminum. Non-tariffs include quotas, embargoes, exchange controls, and binational regulations. In China, there are also tariffs, which are a value-added tax, a consumption tax, and general custom duties. Non-tariffs include quotas, licenses, voluntary export restraints, subsidies, and exchange rate controls. So if there's a trade war with China and it began in 2018, the reason for this is because of the growing division between China and the US. The US accuses China of unfair trading practices, and also the US imposed a 25% tariff on $34 billion worth of Chinese imports. So there is no free trade agreement between these two countries, but they made a trade. Trump and the Chinese government made a trade deal called the Phase One trade deal, signed in January 2020, which is basically China agreeing to buy an additional $200 billion worth of American goods over 2 years.
So for the future expectations, we think that because of the step over the future, trade may succeed more in the future than it has in the past. And this is because consumers and businesses will still have to pay costly tariffs, but China also has to buy more from the United States. So with the new trade deal, trade has been regulated to benefit both countries more and make trade fair overall. So we don't really think there's a way to make it even more fair than it has been recently.